Let me say something that's going to make somebody mad. Some of y'all don't want love. You want a distraction from the fact you don't trust yourself. Because if you trusted you, you wouldn't keep accepting confusion, you wouldn't keep calling anxiety chemistry, and you wouldn't keep begging somebody to pick you. Let's talk about it. Welcome to April Unmuted. I'm so glad you pressed play today. Okay, y'all. So happy New Year. We are back. This is episode 13 of April Unmuted, y'all. I can't even believe we're already at episode 13. I know it's been a while since my last episode in December, but I really took real rest for the holidays. And then I had some technical issues recording and editing. It was all bad, y'all. But we are here now. We are back. And today we are talking about the one thing Valentine's Day exposes every single year, and that is self-trust. Because if you don't trust you, you will keep calling anxiety chemistry, you will keep accepting confusion, and you will keep shrinking just to stay chosen. And if that made you feel called out, that's good. I want you to stay with me. Now, listen, Valentine's Day season be having people acting like they don't have no sense sometimes. People start checking pages they said they were done checking. People start reopening doors God already closed. People start calling it missing them when really it's just loneliness in habit. And listen, I'm not judging you. I'm not judging you. I'm calling it what it is because this season doesn't just expose who you're with, it exposes what you believe you deserve. And if you don't trust yourself, you will take almost anything that looks like love, right? You'll settle for effort sometimes. You'll settle for consistency when it's convenient. You'll settle for someone choosing you in private but embarrassing you in public. And I know that because I lived it. I stayed in a toxic relationship for 5 years. 5 years. And it wasn't because I was clueless. It wasn't that at all. It was because I was in survival mode. And survival mode will convince you that pain is normal. So today I'm going to tell you what that looked like for me. And then I'm going to walk you through the shifts, the same shifts I had to learn the hard way so you can stop shrinking to stay chosen. Let me tell you the part that really broke something in me. See, he cheated on me a lot. And it wasn't even private. That's the part that I feel like really stings. Family would see him out with other women. So now it's not just heartbreak, right? It's humiliation. It's the feeling like everybody knows you're staying, everybody sees it, and you're still there. And that type of pain makes you start questioning your reality. You see signs and then you talk yourself out of it. You feel it in your gut and then you swallow it. You know what it is and then you start negotiating with yourself. And that's when you turn into a detective, right? You start checking phones, checking locations, checking followers, reading tone and text like you work for the FBI. And you tell yourself you're doing it to protect your peace. But that's not peace. That's control. That's you trying to manage somebody else's character because you don't trust yourself to face the truth. And here's the truth. If someone is willing to embarrass you, they are not protecting you. And I had to accept that for myself. I had to accept that I wasn't just staying because I loved him. I was staying because I didn't trust myself to leave. So here's the first shift that I want you to really hold on to and really put into practice. So this is control to surrender. And before you roll your eyes at surrender, I want you to hear me out. I want you to hear me. Control is not strength. Control is fear dressed up like responsibility. Control is you trying to force clarity out of confusion. Control is you trying to love somebody into loyalty. Control is you thinking if you just monitor enough, pray enough, hold on enough, it'll finally be okay. But what it really does is it keeps you stuck. Because when you don't trust yourself, you start trying to control everything outside of you, the outcome, the timing, their behavior, their loyalty. You cannot control what a person chooses. You can only control what you will tolerate. So here's your 5-minute move for today. Sit still, no phone, no distractions, and say out loud, God, I can't do this alone. Then ask yourself, what am I trying to control that I need to release? Because surrender is where you get your voice back. Now, I'm going to tell you what finally snapped me out of it. It wasn't him saying sorry. It wasn't me catching him again. It wasn't a big dramatic moment. Really, it was my mom. My mom met me at my house late one evening after I'd worked late. I told her I was going to be working late, and she just did not care. She was just like, "Oh, I'll meet you at your house. I really want to talk to you." And when she walked in, it wasn't small talk. She told me she knew about the lying and the cheating. And I'm not going to go too much into detail with the whole story, but what I will say is this. When she looked at me, it felt like she was looking through me. Like she was looking at the version of me I used to be, and she was like, where you at? Where is she at? And she said, this is not acceptable. You deserve so much more. And in that moment, she was a mirror. I couldn't hide from myself anymore. I couldn't keep pretending I was okay. I couldn't keep acting like I didn't know what I knew. Because the truth is, I wasn't just being betrayed by him, I was betraying myself by staying. And that night, I knew I had to get out because I wasn't this person. I wasn't built to be somebody's option. I wasn't built to be embarrassed. And if you've ever had a moment where you looked at yourself and didn't recognize you, yeah, that was mine. And that's where the real shift happened for me. Self-betrayal to self-honor. Because I realized something. I kept calling it love, but I was really betraying myself to stay chosen. I was breaking my own boundaries, ignoring my own gut, making excuses for things I would never tell another woman to tolerate. And this is the part that's going to sting a little, but honestly, it's the truth. Every time you say, I'm done, and then you go back, you teach your brain not to believe you. Every time you say, I deserve better, but you accept less, you teach your spirit your words don't matter. So self honor is not some cute quote that you repost. Self honor is when you stop negotiating your dignity. It's when you stop letting somebody else's access to you matter more than your peace. So I want you to ask yourself this, and don't lie, be honest. Where have you been betraying yourself just to keep somebody close? Because if Valentine's Day season always triggers you, it might not be the holiday, right? It might be the fact that your spirit is tired of you accepting less than you deserve. Now, I'm going to tell you the part people don't like to admit after they leave. You miss them. Listen, I missed him. In spite of everything, he was my best friend. So when something happened, anything, my first instinct was to pick up the phone and tell him, and I couldn't. And that felt like losing the closest person to me. And that's when fear gets loud. Fear starts talking like it's facts. Fear says, call him. Fear says, you're alone. Fear says, maybe it wasn't that bad, right? Fear says, what if you never find better? So here's the shift that kept me from going back. Fear voice to truth voice, right? So fear says, call him, you need him. But then truth says, calling him will cost my peace. Fear says, he's your best friend. But then truth says, my best friend doesn't embarrass me. Fear says, you're doing too much. But then truth says, I'm finally doing what I should have done. And I need you to hear me because this is so important. Missing somebody is not proof you should return. Missing them is proof you built habits around them. That's withdrawal. That's your nervous system trying to go back to what's familiar. But familiar does not mean safe. So when the missing hits, here's what you do. It's not a long speech, a simple move. When you want to call them, Do one of these instead. So write what you want to say in your notes and don't send it. Or voice note it to yourself and kind of get it out your system, get it out your body, right? Or you could even take it a step further and text a safe person, someone who won't push you back into the same cycle. Because the goal is not, I never miss him. The goal is, I can miss you and still choose me. And here's the part I really need you to catch: the real issue is not him. The real issue is you keep breaking your own word to yourself when you feel lonely. And that's what we're fixing. So if you're listening and you're like, April, I keep saying I'm done and then I go right back when my emotions get loud, this is exactly what I help with, right? Not dating advice. I'm not a relationship guru. Don't pretend to be, but self trust, because that's where all of this really stems from. And the unmuted method is a simple 10-day reset to rebuild self trust so you can set boundaries and take one clear next step. Now, I'm going to leave that for you in the show notes if you're ready. No pressure at all. But I want you to promise me this: don't leave yourself again. Okay? So I want to thank you for tapping in with me. Thank you for listening. And as always, I always got to end it with this. Y'all know, for those that have been listening, right? Remember, be authentic in everything you do, because authenticity is the new bag.